I got really specific with a client of mine this week about this because I see her struggling too with similar things. And I said, look, it's not enough to say, yeah, that's a nice idea. I get that I'm looking for escape or relaxation or pleasure at the end of the night. It's not enough to understand what it is you're trying to achieve. But I got really clear with myself and with this client. And I said, you have to have a very specific rudimentary plan. Like, I got so specific with myself. Let me tell you what I did. I decided, nope, I'm not going to do it again. I am not going to do it again. Not never, because I don't speak in absolutes. But tonight I am not doing it. And instead, here's what I'm going to do. All right. So I planned to come home from my night group fitness job, shower, eat dinner, finish up some work, put my kids to bed, grab a Topo Chico. You know my Topo Chico, my favorite healthy indulgence, and get on my foam roller. What?
I love it.
What? I just went from eating chocolate for pleasure to foam rolling for pain. But I got that explicit with myself, and I broke down every step in the riskiest part of my day so that I had absolutely no question about what next. I made those decisions, and I have done that every single day this week. And I have to say, so far, it's working. Now, does that mean I'm comfortable? No. Does that mean I don't think about the chocolate? No. But when I have my plan dialed in so much that I know what I can expect by the end of the night, it makes it so much easier to follow through. All right, let me see here. You there?
Yeah, we're recording right now.
Yeah, I know.
I
Is
know.
that okay?
Yeah.
Oh well, no, I'm getting something.
What are you looking at?
I'll show you. You want to see?
Sure.
I mean, it's just some pictures I've put together, but I think it's really interesting. All right, let me show you. What comes to mind when you see this?
Stress, overwhelm, lots of competing demands and priorities.
Yeah. We might consider that a picture of someone who emotionally eats, right? So, what about this one? Let's see. Sorry. Camera doesn't like that one as much. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Definitely an emotional leader.
I love that picture. I kind of feel like that a lot most days. What about this one? Oh, he's so nice.
Seems very content.
Yeah. But would you say he eats emotionally?
I do not know him, but he certainly can. He might.
Oh, I like it. I like it. You're open. Ooh, what about this group? Look at that.
They're all cheering and happy.
Yeah. Eaters of emotions.
They certainly can be. As we know, a picture, it can be very deceiving. Lots of
Right.
lots of people smiling that are unhappy deep down or not so deep down.
Oh, this is a good one. One of my favorites. I think it's really evident.
Cookie Monster.
Yeah. Even that guy walking around in the background. Him too.
Bert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely emotional eaters. Wait, let's see what else. Oh, what about this one? Who's that?
Is that you?
That's
It's you.
me.
Are you emotionally
That's me.
drinking?
Yeah. Oh, come on now. It's what butterbeer though, non-alcoholic. All right. Look, I mean, here's the deal, right? Emotional eaters equals, in my head, human beings. And the occasional cookie monster. What do you think?
I think unless you are a monk, you're an emotional eater.
Yeah. And even then, right, there's something in even a monk, right? Because, I mean, let's get real. It's wiring. We're wired to seek comfort, right? To evade discomfort. So if you're human, you're up against it. Do you agree?
I agree. I mean, there's no doubt we are hardwired to seek pleasure and avoid discomfort. And that is precisely why change is so hard because we're working against our own chemistry.
Right. But here's the other takeaway from that piece before we move on. We are not doomed, right? Just because that's some of our wiring, it doesn't mean we're like meant for that. It doesn't mean we're at the mercy of it. It is just wiring.
It's
Agree or
just
disagree?
wiring.
Yeah.
And I used the word chemistry. That's actually incorrect. But yes, it is just wiring and it is absolutely changeable.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the other thing I want to bring up before we really dive into everything. There is this idea out there. Now, I had a client once on a phone call. I said, okay, talk to me about emotional eating. And she said, oh, I don't do that. I said, oh, you don't eat emotionally? She said, no, I don't eat when I'm stressed. I was like, oh, I see. So a lot of people think if they're not eating out of stress, then they're not eating emotionally, right? Have you experienced this?
Yes, I think for a lot of people, they equate emotional eating to sitting on the couch, watching a rom-com with a pint of ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hold on, because I've done something really handy. I don't know about you, but I'm really into Venn diagrams. I think they clarify a lot of things for me. So I made this one for us.
Ooh, I love that.
Emotional eating.
I love a good Venn diagram.
Isn't it good? I did pretty well. I mean, art wasn't my major, obviously. But look, emotional eating encompasses a lot of things. Emotions, right? At the core of it, it's it's eating in response to something we feel or maybe something we no longer want to feel, or we're trying to achieve a certain feeling, right? It's just emotion, impulse, eat. So that could really mean any of these: tired, stressed, FOMO, fear of missing out, or wanting to have fun, or eating or not eating when you think you should or shouldn't, right? Like that too. There's some thoughts leading to feelings and then eating. So I just, handy dandy, feel free to copy it. It's not copywritten. You're welcome. Emotional eating. So that's what we're talking about today. It's human nature, but it's not our doom. All right, Adam, anything else you want to add? Because I have notes, I have things I want to share. What are your thoughts so far?
Yeah, no, I think that's a big misconception that emotional eating is only out of negative emotions. But it could certainly be out of really fun, positive, exciting emotions. I mean, I think I'm conditioned, like growing up, whenever there was a snow day, my mom was a teacher, and if she had off too, if she had a snow day, she would always like make cookies. And like, there's a part of me that's like, whenever there's a snow day, like let's snuggle in, let's bake some cookies. And that's not out of, that's emotion. That's my emotions driving that desire, right? So I think for people, we need to be aware it's not only negative emotions for sure. And I'm just thinking about that now.
Yeah, I think it's really important. And I think by embracing that fact that it's all emotions, we can also step away from judgment, right? We're all human. We all have the impulse to use food from time to time. And it's all emotions, not just the bad ones, not just the hard ones. Sometimes we want to do it because it feels good and we want to keep feeling more good. So I think that's really, really important. And I kind of want to get down to brass tacks and dig into, okay, we're aware we're emotionally eating, now what, right? So last week we talked about the broccoli test, which is your meter, right? Am I eating emotionally, right? And to be clear, I also think, can we change the syntax of I'm an emotional eater to I eat emotionally, right? Let's not identify with our behavior. Let's just admit these things sometimes happen. What do you think about that?
Yes, love that. I am a big believer that when you say I am and whatever you follow that by, you become that because your actions reinforce your identity. So if you say I am lazy, you're reinforcing that. And then next time you do lazy behavior, you're like, oh, yep, see, there I am. I'm lazy. I think the words we use with ourselves matter a lot. I like to use words like, it's a challenge for me. I have difficulty with it, but I don't like to say I am. To your
Mm.
point, I think that's a great point.
All right. So heretofore, I eat emotionally. I am not an emotional eater, right? Because it's not always true. All right, so here's the deal. We got to get real, first of all. We all accept we're human. We all accept that we eat emotionally from time to time. Can we get real about when it's happening to us in our unique circumstances in life? And I think that truly is step number one. So whip out the broccoli and let's test it. Can you find the times that you may be emotionally eating? That is step number one. Do you agree?
Yes, you have to determine if it's for physical hunger, which is in our head, in our stomach, any food is appealing, versus emotional hunger. And the broccoli test, that is the point of it, is to help you determine and decipher what you're actually hungry for. Is it for food, or is it for something else to soothe your emotions, etc.?
Yep. So I'm going to fess up and throw out a little vulnerability here, real quick. I have been in a streak of eating emotionally at night. And if you guys have been following along with me and Adam for the last year or so, you know my food of choice is dark chocolate chips. All right. So last week I caught myself in the streak of eating emotionally. So I'm owning it. I'm honest about it. I'm not going to judge myself because I am human. And from time to time, I emotionally eat. So step one, done. I tested that with broccoli too. Definitely did not want broccoli at 9 o'clock at night. So
Yep.
there it is, my honesty and my vulnerability. So the next question in my mind is, you're the writer, what is it I really want? What is bothering me, or what is it I really want, right?
Yeah, I mean, likely you want an escape, you want a dose of pleasure, you want to not feel for a few minutes like you're a busy mom, you're busy what, like there's all sorts of stuff going on. And food, it's never about the food, it's about what the food allows us to avoid and or the void it fills. And in that moment, it could just be, hey, it's a quick dose of pleasure and it feels good and it's fun and it's tasty.
Yeah, all those things. All those things. And then at some point I was like, this is silly. This chocolate is not doing anything for me. And I also, honestly, I watch for times where some behaviors get a little sticky. And I think to myself, is this a habit I want to keep? Right? Or do I want to create this habit? So take that question with you.
That's wait, sorry, but that's really powerful because it's one of the harder things to do as a parent is actually saying no to your child, but for the reasons of, like, there are times where, like, my kid wants a candy bar or whatever, or a little toy, and it's like I would love to get it for him, but the problem is if I get it for him every single time, he's going to expect that going forward, I think. And to your point, it's like, if I do this behavior today or tomorrow, am I conditioning myself to do this over and over? Because how we behave today it's going to continue. Inertia is very powerful, and when you're indulging, or when you're engaging in an indulgent behavior, it's much easier to kind of bad behaviors persist much easier.
Yeah.
If there's pleasure involved.
Definitely. Definitely. And I mean, I could have just kind of buried my head about it, right? And chalked it up to, well, I'll deal with it next week.
Right.
I'll stop doing this next week. But I just know the slippery slope I was on. So
Yeah.
here's the powerful moment, and then the most important action is, what am I going to do about it? And you talk about this all the time, Adam. I mean, in your articles, your blogs, I know you talk about it with your clients, with me. What am I going to do about it? And I think you and I have given so many strategies over the years, but I got really specific with a client of mine this week about this because I see her struggling too with similar things. And I said, look, it's not enough to say, yeah, that's a nice idea. I get that I'm looking for escape or relaxation or pleasure at the end of the night. It's not enough to understand what it is you're trying to achieve. But I got really clear with myself and with this client, and I said, you have to have a very specific, rudimentary plan. Like, I got so specific with myself. Let me tell you what I did. I decided, nope, I'm not going to do it again. I am not going to do it again. Not never, because I don't speak in absolutes. But tonight I am not doing it. And instead, here's what I'm going to do. All right. So I planned to come home from my night group fitness job, shower, eat dinner, finish up some work, put my kids to bed, grab a Topo Chico. You know, my Topo Chico, my favorite healthy indulgence, and get on my foam roller. What?
I love it.
What? I just went from eating chocolate for pleasure to foam rolling for pain. But I got that explicit with myself, and I broke down every step in the riskiest part of my day so that I had absolutely no question about what next. I made those decisions, and I have done that every single day this week. And I have to say, so far, it's working. Now, does that mean I'm comfortable? No. Does that mean I don't think about the chocolate? No. But when I have my plan dialed in so much that I know what I can expect by the end of the night, it makes it so much easier to follow through.
That's
So
awesome.
what are your thoughts?
That's awesome. I think a lot of thoughts. Hopefully I can remember them all. Number one, it's important to test drive. So it's very easy to say, for example, brushing your teeth post dinner, right? A lot of people nod their head, oh, that sounds good. It's a very different thing to actually brush your teeth and feel your mouth all minty and fresh, and then experience the night with a fresh mouth, right? With a minty mouth. So test driving is really, really important, not just nodding your head and saying, oh, I should try that. Because, it's much easier to act your way into a new way of thinking versus thinking your way into a new way of acting, right? So when you're acting a certain way, you're going to think differently. You're going to change your state of mind. Number two is you were super specific about what you were going to do. There was no room for error. There was no room for ambiguity. You knew exactly what to do. So that's really, really powerful. And number three is, one of the things I often think about is the sacrifice of a pleasure is often a pleasure in of itself. It feels good to do good, right? So yes, obviously, in a perfect world, we could all eat ice cream and pizza and hamburgers all day long and not gain weight. But that doesn't feel good either, right? There's, we're all balancing living for today versus tomorrow and balancing that. But there is a pleasure in sacrifice of a pleasure. And I think about that a lot because it feels good to do good. When we're doing good for ourselves, it feels good. And, enjoying your drink, enjoying your foam roller, like that, yes, it's discomfort, it's painful, but it does feel good too. So I think, you had a plan, you executed it on it, and, how do you feel now?
Yeah, well, I think, to kind of follow up what you just said, it feels good to do good. Doing those things gives me access to how I want to feel the next day, right? And I think so much of this work that we do is about access to our future, and so I think once you get into a momentum of identifying emotional eating, understanding what it is you're seeking, whether it's an escape from something you're not liking or more of something you like, and then being willing to, like you said, try things on, test run, and understand that it's not going to be a perfect science. I mean, this has taken me years to even get to this point, right? Because I did a lot of, yeah, that sounds nice for a long time.
Right.
But then once you get it going and you realize, oh my gosh, like, why wouldn't I choose to skip this tiny bowl of chocolate chips every night for how I feel the next day? Like, you just feel like you're on top of the mountain, and that's the access we're doing all of this for.
Agreed. We always feel powerful when we do something uncomfortable, but of course it doesn't always feel uncomfortable. Once you do it enough, it becomes easy, just like riding a bike or walking, etc. Yeah, I mean, I think that's super powerful. Yeah, I mean, I love it. I love that you had a plan. The key thing though was also experimenting, right? And it is never about the food. It is about what the food allows us to avoid and or the void it fills. As much as you might think it's about the ice cream or the cookies or the chips or the popcorn you're eating at night or whenever your most vulnerable time of day is, it's not about that. And you have to give yourself the chance to experience something else, whether it's reading a book, taking a warm shower, taking a bath, whatever it might be, having a cup of tea. There's all sorts of things you can do and experiment with and test drive and see how you feel.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to remember too, the food's always going to be there. Like, don't throw your crutches into the river. Like, you don't have to do that. Set them aside and just put your feet in, right? Like, it's okay. Like, I never take food away from clients. I never say don't eat. Just try something else first, but be really explicit about what it is you're going to try. Don't just be like, yeah, I'll figure it out when I get there, because you won't. You're
Right.
going to hang on to the crutches, right? So be really explicit about step 1, 2, 3, all the way until, whenever. But you have to be specific. You have to be specific.
Yeah, two things that come to mind. Number one is like, I often talk about like many things that are rewarding and make us feel our best kind of suck for the first 10 minutes or so, right? So it could be exercising, it could be going for a run, lifting weights, it could be not eating when you feel like you're hungry, it could be all sorts of things. The first 10 minutes might be really challenging, but once you get through those first 10 minutes, you feel great and you feel empowered and you feel energized and you feel powerful. And it's important to remember that, like, yes, the first 10 minutes might suck, but it's much easier to know that in 11 minutes you're going to feel great. And almost always we feel great, like almost always. And then, also weight loss, really comes down to a few tough moments each day and a few tough moments each week. And the more specific you can be with your plan, the better. And you had a perfect roadmap. This is what I'm doing step by step.
Yep, definitely. All right, guys. Well, that's it this week for eating emotionally. We are not emotional eaters. We are human beings. All right. Try some of this stuff out. Send Adam an email. Send me an email. Leave comments below. Whatever you feel like, but let us know how it's going. All right. And we'll see you again soon. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you liked that video, check out the link for another great video right here.
And if you're having trouble staying consistent, if you feel like you know what to do but just can't seem to do it, I invite you to check out our coaching program. It's in the link below. We offer one-to-one accountability, coaching, support. I know you're going to love it, and let's go. Together we can make it happen.